Good morning, class 12 children. Today we are going to continue with chapter number 14. And today this is the concluding video of this chapter of biotechnology and its applications. And children, we see that in the last video 15, we had studied about biosafety issues and about biopatent laws that are very necessary to protect the benefit of the inventors, and we also study about the plant patent and its importance. We also studied about Basmati battle, about the turmeric and neem cases that were won legally by India due to the plant patent laws that are there to protect the favor of the companies in India. Now today we will look at the legal protection of biotech innovations, and we see that for this IPR has been made. What is IPR, children? The full form of IPR is intellectual property rights. These have been given by the government of all the countries, and they differ in different nations. In some nations they are of different kind, in other nations, as according to the requirement of that nation, the intellectual property rights are made. Now what are these? In the developing countries like ours, which are still developing, the duration of protection is shorter than in industrial countries. So in those countries which are already developed and those countries which are industrialized, there the rights, intellectual property rights, are longer lived than compared to the developing countries like ours, where the protection is shorter lived. Then we see in advanced countries too, some are excluded from specific process and products from patent protection. In advanced country also we see that some are excluded from specific process and products from patent protection, while others get a very specific amount of patent protection, children. Then we see that there are examples, two different kind of examples. That's why I've shown them as a difference, that in many Western nations, for example, they exclude plant or animal varieties and biological processes for production of plants and animals through the biotechnological way. Whereas we see that in the developing countries, example, also they exclude pharmaceuticals, food products and processes for pharmaceuticals from food production from their patent legislation. So we see a slight difference in these two here. Then children, let's come to the importance of patent protection. What is the importance for the plant growers? Importance of patent protection due to Uruguay Round Global Trade Accord. There was an accord that was made, and this accord is known as the Uruguay Round Global Trade Accord. This concluded several years ago, and it established of minimum standards for patent and related intellectual property protection, and included products resulting from genetic engineering. So this accord was made for protection of products, including products resulting from genetic engineering. Then we see that the above accord that was made, the Uruguay Accord, not only protected industrial countries, but it also encouraged creation and protection of developed countries. Inventions, Indian highly trained scientists and engineers are well placed for taking advantages of patent protection. Then we see Brazil and China are some other examples that have made great strides in both creation and implementation of modern patent laws. Then we see there are other countries which followed the example of Brazil and China, and these countries, they got the incentives for patent system to fuel innovation. So when they were innovating fuel through microbes, they got a patent for their system for fuel innovation. Then we see that patent protection adds the rapid availability of technology and superior foreign varieties through licensing arrangements and contractual agreements. So there are licensing arrangements, contractual agreements, all these come under the protection of patent laws. Then we come to what is biopiracy and bioprotecting. Now you see, let us understand these one by one. But before going into the details of this, I will try to tell something about why bioprotection was needed. Now, biotechnology is such a big business, children, that manipulations of living material to create new types of medicines and agricultural products is worth billions of rupees per year. So the companies, they run after these billions of rupees per year through biotechnologies. And maximum raw material, from where do these biotechnicians and these big companies get the raw material? The maximum raw material, children, is received from biotech industry, which comes from the world's dwindling rainforests of the southern hemisphere. So all the rainforests that are found in the southern hemispheres, they contain the world's greatest amount of raw material for bioengineering. The scientists, they believe that cures for AIDS, cancer and other diseases, they are hidden beneath the tropical canopies. That's why they come searching for these. In this, first the gene or cell line is found, and then the invention is patented. So first the gene or the cell line is found by the scientists or by those who are working on biotechnology, the genetic engineers. So they first find the cell or the gene through which they can work, and then the invention is patented so that no one else can copy their invention, or no one else can change the invention that they have done, so that it may cause damage to the nearby environment. So we see here that the profits may be still many years far, but extensive government mandated trials and testings for the safety goes on in the meanwhile. When the pharmaceuticals or the agricultural products finally do make it to the market, then the companies see the phenomenal return on their investments. So first the companies, they have spent so much upon testing, upon the safety of these genes, upon the safety of the biotechnological material, and the government has also given extensive mandate on the trials and testing for the safety of these products. So the companies, they look forward to a phenomenal return of money on the money that they have invested. Now from this comes bioprospecting. What is bioprospecting? Supporters of this genetic gold rush. What this genetic gold rush is? The money which the companies are going to get by investing into these areas and by sending their bioproducts into the market. This is the gold rush. So supporters of this genetic gold rush, they refer to it as bioprospecting, since genetic materials found in the developing world may yield cure for diseases as well. So this genetic material which is to be sent into the market, this contains much cure for diseases, and these rare diseases like AIDS, like cancer, which is very difficult to cure. So these companies have invested money in the research of these. So we see what is biopiracy. Corporations use the folk wisdom, the local folk or the local people, their understanding about the various plants and animals. So they use their knowledge of indigenous people, of the people who are in those forests, into those rainforests. So they use their expertise, they use their knowledge to locate and understand the use of the medicinal plants. And then this knowledge is commercially exploited, while the indigenous people who made it all possible, they receive little or nothing as profit in return. This causes biopiracy. Now let us define them one by one. Let us first define what is biodiversity prospecting. Biodiversity prospecting is the exploration of wild plants and animals for commercially valuable genetic and biochemical resources, children. And let's define biopiracy. Biopiracy is the term used to refer to the use of bioresources by multinational companies and other organizations without proper authorization from the countries and the people concerned, without compensating payment to those indigenous people. For example, let us see theft and robbery of genetic resources indigenously to a country. This is widespread, this kind of biopiracy or theft or robbery of genetic resources is widely spread in which places? In Asia, Africa, in Latin America, where the abundant biological resources are produced in the forest. Then we see the genetic resources. Genetic resources are the genes that are found in plants and animals that are of actual or potential value to people. These are the genetic resources. Now let us see a few points about these. New biotechnology is genes of organisms are used. The plant and animal breeders, for example, they use genes found in wild species, and genetically engineered organisms are now being used for new industrial applications, which are as mining, waste water treatment, and carbon dioxide scrubbing. So these are some of the areas where the plant and animal breeders are using the genes found in wild species, and they genetically engineer these organisms. Now we see, due to the lack of national policies, many countries, they don't have proper national policies and legislation, that means laws, to govern and regulate wildland diversity prospecting. That is why these genetic resources, they are snatched away or they are forcefully taken by other countries. We see pharmaceuticals as biopirates. Biotechnology and new patent laws have allowed companies to capitalize on even the smallest of life forms. So these companies, once they get the patent law, then they capitalize on even the smallest life forms. Example, Merck pharmaceutical company. There's a name of this pharmaceutical company. It's called Merck pharmaceutical company, has patented microbial samples from 9 countries, which includes soil bacteria from Mount Kilimanjaro, from Mexican and fungus useful in male hormone manufacturing. From Namibia, soil, they have got the soil bacteria. Then also this company has got the patent for taking soil bacterium in India, antifungal agent from Venezuela soil. So all these pharmaceutical companies, they try to take the benefit of these resources. Like Merck pharmaceutical company has taken the advantage from 9 different countries. These also include North American companies which have been granted more than 30 US patents or benefits on neem trees of India and indigenous knowledge about many uses, which is biopiracy. And what are the measures that have been taken by countries against biopiracy? A United Nations conference has agreed now to measures to prevent biopiracy children. So we see that to the use of wild plants by international companies without rewarding the countries from which these medicinal products are taken, this has been brought to a standstill. So only then the international companies are allowed to invest in our countries if they will give a handsome reward for the products which they are able to procure from our country. Then another thing we see, a meeting of the Convention in Biological Diversity in Hague in Netherlands. What does it give? It's given guidelines for developing countries to allow companies into the forest areas only if they share the benefits of such products. Only when these foreign companies, they are ready to share the benefits of taking these products, only then they should be allowed in our forests. Then we see again how biopiracy can be curbed. The Indian Parliament has recently cleared the second amendment for the Indian Patent Bill to curb biopiracy. Then we see bioprospecting in India, how the prospective places in India are safeguarded. The bioprospecting program was started in 1997 as a major initiative of the 9th plan with objectives of landscape and biodiversity characterization, collection, documentation and molecular characterization of gene, of biomolecule, prospecting and conservation concentrates on the 2 hotspot regions. What were these hotspot regions of India? The northeast and the western Ghats were 2 of the bioprospecting regions which were safeguarded. And all the mapping was done, the documentation was done, the biodiversity characterization and collection was done, the landscape understanding was taken care of, and then other places for mapping were also taken care of, like Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The beneficial growth promoting bacteria in the coastal agri-ecosystem have been induced and documented. The prospecting them for their efficiency has led to successful field trials in India. And so India knows its places by bioprospecting those places, and these places now can be indigenously used by our Indian government for the benefit for the people of India. So this concludes the video for this chapter 14 of biotechnology and its applications. So children, wish you all the best. Have a good day. Thank you.